but a lot of folks got hundredths of an inch or not enough to measure. So that was kind of the rule of the day. What's next? Well, our system has already moved on. There's another little cold front pushing into the area Friday. I don't think it's going to do much. Might give us a sprinkle or a droplet of rain in the overnight hours, very early hours of Friday. Other than that, we're going to see those temperatures on the cooler side until we get into next week. Then we've got to change. And I can tell you what area of the west is going to get drilled by rain. It's not here. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, so stay right there.
I'm Claudia Bucio covering your community of Paso Robles. City Manager Ty Lewis is under investigation after former mayoral candidate Michael Rivera claims he had an altercation with him earlier this month. Here's the latest on the investigation. The San Luis Obispo County Sheriff's Office confirmed that the agency is investigating an alleged physical altercation involving Paso Robles City Manager Ty Lewis, who is also the city's former police chief. Paso Robles Assistant City Attorney Isaac Rosen said the city is also reviewing the allegations. The incident reportedly occurred during a homeless strategic plan working group meeting on November 6th. At a city council meeting the next day, former mayoral candidate Michael Rivera described the incident. He said he attended the November 6th meeting on behalf of someone else, which allegedly made Lewis upset.
After a couple of more verbal exchanges, he then came towards me, grabbed me by the shoulder. This shook me up. And as he was walking away, slapped me on the shoulder, slapped me very aggressively on the shoulder, and this shook me up.
In a statement, Rosen explained that the Homeless Strategic Plan Working Group consists of approximately 35 stakeholders. The working group has held a series of working meetings and a series of public meetings where the general public was specifically invited to provide input. The meeting on November 6th was a working meeting of the working group to review the final draft of the plan.
My shoulder still hurts, but my psychological condition after this is worse. It is outrageous that the city manager of our city, who is the former police chief, would lay hands on a citizen.
I reached out to Rivera over the phone. Would you want to say anything else that I could record that you would feel comfortable of me adding to the story just to make sure, your voice is reflected in our coverage?
We as a people have a right to participate in our government. And for somebody to tell a citizen where he can and can't be and then assault them for appearing at a public meeting in a public place is totally out of bounds. It is not right and it shouldn't be tolerated.
I also reached out to Lewis but have not received a response. Rosen added the city is cooperating fully with that investigation. Because the investigation is ongoing, we cannot discuss this matter until the investigation is concluded. Rivera told me he is on his third medical treatment for his shoulder. Anyone with information is asked to contact the SLO County Sheriff's Office. Claudia Bucio, KSBY News.
Family and close friends said their final goodbyes to former First Lady Rosalynn Carter. Funeral services were held at the Carter's home church in Plains, Georgia on Wednesday. Mrs. Carter died last week at the age of 96. Former President Carter, who has been in hospice care since February, attended the service. The Carter's loved ones shared eulogies about Rosalynn's life, including her dedication to service and advocacy.
She worked with everybody, from world leaders to people living on less than $1 a day. And when she told us stories about the work that she was doing, she would only ever focus on the people, on humanity. Everywhere she went, she would tell us that the people were just as smart and just as capable as she was. She helped wherever she could. She was Mom.
The former First Lady was laid to rest at a private graveside ceremony today. The Supreme Court is hearing a case Wednesday that looks at the authority of regulatory agencies and the power of the president. The case involves the reach of the Securities and Exchange Commission, specifically the commission's in-house enforcement proceedings that consist of administrative courts staffed with agency employees. The court is reviewing the tenure of the judges, who can only be removed for cause and not at the whim of the president. Economic growth in the U.S. was even stronger in the third quarter than previously estimated. Gross domestic product, the broadest measure of economic output, rose at an annualized rate of 5.2% from July through September. It's according to the Commerce Department's new estimate. GDP is adjusted for inflation and seasonal swings. Wednesday's latest data reflects an even faster pace of growth than the rate the department initially estimated. Let's take a look at what's going on in your community of San Luis Obispo. Caltrans is inviting community members to a public information meeting regarding a proposal to construct and operate a new maintenance station and equipment shop on state-owned property. The future property is located at 4485 Vatchel Lane near Buckley Road. During the meeting, Caltrans says the public will be able to learn more about the project, view informational displays, and ask questions of the project team. The meeting is tonight from 6 to 8 p.m. and will be held in an open house format at the Octagon Barn in San Luis Obispo. The North American wolverine will receive long-anticipated federal protections. That's because it's now been listed as threatened under the Endangered Species Act. According to U.S. Fish and Game officials Wednesday, climate change is driving the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service decision to protect the increasingly rare animal in the lower 48 states. Scientists warn that warming temperatures are diminishing the mountain snowpack that the species rely on for food, reproduction, and survival.
Since the 1920s, monarch butterflies have been making a pit stop right here at Elwood Mesa. I'm your community reporter, Juliette Lamar, today in Goleta, where we learn more about these beautiful bugs at the height of butterfly viewing season. It's peak butterfly season in Goleta as thousands of monarchs roost in the trees at Elwood Mesa, where a short half-mile hike brings you to Butterfly Grove. This habitat is the largest wintering site in Southern California. Biologist Charis van der Heide says it's the location's unique geography that keeps them coming back.
The trees here create a cathedral-like opening, and that opening allows for dappled light to come through. You also have wind protection around the outside.
The butterflies arrive in early October and will likely peak in December and January. So far, this year's population is holding steady.
They're not as high as last year, but they're also not as low as the population got 3 years ago.
If you're planning a visit, photographer Susie Jensen says timing is everything.
The greatest time is to get here when the sun is directly on them, and they love this spot right here.
And remember to bring your binoculars to get an unforgettable up-close view. Conservation of the grove is crucial for not just the butterflies, but the entire ecosystem.
The focus here has been on monarch butterflies, but so much of our conservation activities benefit so many other species and sensitive plants in the area.
The grove is free to visit and open from sunrise to sunset. In Goleta, I'm Juliette Lamar for KSBY News.
We're live at Twin Cities Hospital. We are collecting your donations. I have amazing helpers over here, so stop by, say hi. We'll get some interviews for you coming up